Hello, this is Jill Fielding, and this is what has caught my eye in the media this week. Now, goalkeepers are funny people, very isolated, and they spend the vast majority of a football game standing on their own at one end of the pitch, while all the action is taking place at the other end of the pitch. So they're missing out on all that excitement. And I suspect a lot of goalkeepers stand there in their solitary isolation, dreaming about something wonderful and perhaps even scoring that winning goal at the other end of the pitch. And of course, that doesn't normally happen, apart from last weekend, when Alisson, the Liverpool goalie, actually scored the winning goal in extra time. And that's incredibly rare, and it's only the sixth time it's happened in Premier League history, and the only goal ever to have been headed. And it got me to thinking about the rest of us. We're not all goalkeepers, fortunately, but how many of us stand there in isolation or sit there in isolation or plod through our lives in isolation, dreaming about scoring that winning goal, that great achievement, that objective that we've always had in our head and we do nothing about it? And I'd like us all to take the inspiration from Alisson, the goalkeeper, and to know that you can score that winning goal, you can achieve something magnificent, you can achieve that great dream and objective. But do you know what? You've got to run right up the other end of the pitch and take action and jump higher than everybody else and get to the ball. So if you want to achieve your winning goal, then take action, take the inspiration from the story, but take action. You have to take action. And remember, if it's to be, it's up to me. Now, one group of people that have taken action is what I call the super rich. And it turns out that they've been buying super yachts in their droves during the pandemic and even now. And apparently they've spent £1 billion on super yachts in 2021 already. Now, a super yacht is technically defined as something that's over 24 meters long and normally requires a crew because you can't do it on your own. Now, these are the luxury yachts that the super rich own, and apparently Jeff Bezos, his yacht cost $500 million. Now, that's an extraordinary thing, but you can see why they want to do it, because it means that they can still go around the globe, but in a fairly protected way. So they're free and can travel, but they're protected in their own environment. And you can see why that would be attractive in today's world. And so the super rich are buying yachts in order to give them some sense of normality and some sense of travel. And it's a luxury that the rest of us don't have. And it would be very easy to snipe at these people and to, poke fun at them. But that wouldn't really be fair, because the super rich, like anybody, like the super poor or the super ordinary, have a choice as to what to do with their time and what to do with their money. And if they choose to buy freedom with it, then I think that's up to them. And although we can't all afford a super yacht or wouldn't want one necessarily, we can all achieve our own freedom in our own way. And it's our choice. So again, if it's to be, it's up to me. Let's take the inspiration from the goalkeeper and the super rich and actually create the freedom and the choices and the life that we want. And that's perfectly possible to do, but most people just don't take the action to do it. So rather than poking fun at the super rich and their yachts and fancy behaviours, let's take the motivation. They've created that choice for themselves. So let's create a different choice for ourselves. Now, one way that you can create a different choice for yourself is by investing in property. And figures released this week show that the property market has grown by 10.2% in the year to the end of March. Now, these figures have been presented as something extraordinary, but in fact, that's totally ordinary. And we know, and there is evidence to show, that over the very long period of time, over hundreds of years, the property market does grow by about 10.2% per year on average. So where we are at the moment is really bang on average, and the property market is resetting itself to go back out into the post-pandemic world. Now, that's a very good marker, the 10.2%. And if you own a residential home and it's your asset and your life and your home, then that's great news for you because your asset is going up in value. But we now do have a lot of property investors in the world, myself included. And that 10.2% is just a confirmation that the property market is on its normal path. But underneath that 10.2, there are some interesting statistics because we know that detached houses have grown in value by 11.7% over the year, whereas flats and maisonettes have grown by only 5% per year. And that reflects the trend of people wanting more space and gardens and so on that we know has arisen as a result of the pandemic. So look beneath the headline figures, look at the underlying trends and see whether there's a potential property opportunity for you as an investor. Get some knowledge about it, get educated, take action, and become a property investor. And then maybe you'll get the 10.2% and you'll be able to afford a super yacht. Now, finally, have you been watching the torrid tale of Colin the Caterpillar? And Marks and Spencer's are threatening legal action over copyright for their caterpillar cake over Aldi and probably some other supermarket chains as well, because they all seem to have a version of a caterpillar. Now, this is an intense legal drama that's being played out in public eye, but we've all looked at it with a bit of a laugh because it's a caterpillar cake, isn't it? I mean, and it's something quite frivolous and, you know, it's a goofy looking cake. But there is a legal issue there of ownership of copyright and so on, and I'll let them play that out in the courts as they will. But for the rest of us, we find this debacle over the caterpillar cake quite amusing. And I've been delighted to see that there is now a whole group of knitters that are knitting their version of the Colin the Caterpillar cake and bombing them on post boxes. So keep an eye on your post boxes that are near you. You might find an errant Colin the Caterpillar has turned up on top. I hope all those Colin the Caterpillar knitted versions are different to each other. Otherwise, there might be an ongoing copyright issue with that. It's great to see that the British humour remains intact despite the pandemic. And I'm just off to go and find my knitting needles because I think that's a great wheeze to get involved with. I'll speak to you next week.